Vivek, coming to you. So, hiring done. Which other area have you seen or witnessed a benefit accrue as far as digital is concerned?
Well, I haven't seen, excepting in hiring, a substantial benefit coming from digital. But I see a lot of expectations of employees. Because if you really look at it as an employee or as a consumer, when I get whole lot of benefits from my mobile telephone, I expect similar thing to happen when it comes to my employer providing that. Take for example, I spend money on my credit card, I instantly get an SMS alert saying that you've spent the money. I want, at the end of the month, I get all my SMS alerts indicating my balance and stuff like that. So a lot of financial information, which is very private, highly secured, can come to me through digital technology on mobile phone. Same question employees are asking today from employer as to why I can't get similar information about myself from the company. For example, I was chatting with my son other day and I was talking to him about the importance of provident fund and all that. He says, Papa, why can't I get alerts every month from my employer saying that your provident fund account has been credited by X amount and your current balance is so much? Now, that's a challenge for all of us in HR. And you can always blame government saying that, but there are trust managed provident funds also. As employers, why can't we do that? I think that's the expectation getting created. I take a 7 days leave, why can't I get a SMS alert saying that your leave balance now is so and so? And that's the expectation. And the interesting part is, all of us as corporations are doing an excellent job of using digital technology when it comes to serving the customers. But when it comes to serving the employees, we are not using that. And I think that's where there is a huge expectation of employees. And as employers, we have to start worrying about it because expectation and what we are delivering, there's a huge gap and that will lead to frustrations.
Let me share an interesting example of a large organization in India that I came across using digital really well, I thought. They have a program called iCare. And iCare, essentially what Vivek is mentioning is about query segmentation. So they had compartmentalized each query into 3 clusters. So if it's a transactional query, it goes to a system that speaks to you. You know, if there is a query that does require high touch, then only will you come in contact with an HR professional. So if it's to do with an insurance claim which has emotion involved, then of course you won't be speaking to a system, but you'll be speaking to a person. And I think there lies the concept of efficiency as well, is how do you actually use technology to your advantage and not substitute the human interface, which is so necessary, at least in today's time. The second was iVisit. So the CEO of the bank can actually iVisit each branch, which essentially means everybody in the branch will get to know that the CEO is virtually visiting the bank. And between a webcast and a telephone call or a video conference, it created this technology which provided two-way communication with visual. So you're actually going into the bank virtually and interacting with the employee force without necessarily having to go there. So that was another, I thought, very interesting program that this bank had launched, which was called iSight or iVisit, which was a virtual tour. Coming back to you, Jerry. So sorry I cut you short with your signature practices. I'm sure Levers has many more. So other than hiring, which other area are you really looking at digital? Any learning interventions, virtual learning?
Yeah, so I think most of these practices would be common in the technology sector, which is basically, learning is basically primarily on the go, anytime, anywhere. Yeah, sure. Which is basically, so there are a lot of open source systems which are there, cloud-based open source systems which help you to plug in and learn on the go. You don't have to be on the net in order to learn. These are standalone systems which we can use. So we have, for example, e-learning modules which are basically available on the phone. Yeah, you can access it on a phone or a tab or a laptop, access it anywhere at any time. You can leave it at that particular state and come back and revisit it. So it's all learning on the go. Yeah, but I think so. The most important change which is happening is basically the division which is there between business systems and HR systems is actually merging. So let me give you an example of a salesman who's working, for example, in Eastern UP, and we push a lot of data analytics in terms of what he can sell more into his handheld terminal. That's the same handheld terminal which also basically pushes in the most important training inputs that he can get in terms of how he can sell to a particular customer. Yeah, so it's not about looking at your mobile in order to learn what you want to do, but it is a device which is helping you to do business itself being pushed with learning content which the guy can basically do on his own. So that's the kind of changes which are happening in terms of blurring between business systems as well as HR systems. And the other important thing is the merging, the social media. So you think that social media is highly personalized, but I think so. There's a great integration which is happening with the workforce, and we saw that in hiring. Like you mentioned, where you basically reach out to a far number of talent pool in order to basically decide how your pipelines are going to be. So that's very actively happening in every company. But I think so. The power of social media to leverage, your own employees' social network to get things done for you is amazing. I mean, that's a space which is really, building in a very big way. I can just quickly take 2 examples of what we are doing. So the first important development is about employee referrals. So today you have the ability to basically tap into the social network of all your employees in order to push for employee referrals. Yeah, and that's something that we are doing very actively. And so whether it's Facebook, Twitter, all those social media in order to get social referrals, because that's a much wider network. The second big example is about LinkedIn. How do you leverage LinkedIn in order to basically take it to the next level of contacting your employees' first level contacts? So for example, it could be as simple as what we are trying to do now, which is basically trying to say that get every employee who's on LinkedIn to basically have Unilever as their email ID. You use that to push content, Unilever content onto these employees, which in turn flows to their own first level contacts. So it's a great way to push content on employer branding to your employees' networks in the organization.
It's interesting you bring up LinkedIn. I don't know, for many years I had this barrier, mental barrier that I shouldn't get that power user LinkedIn and pay that amount of money that they charge on a monthly basis. I just thought, well, if you're networked and resourced enough, why do you have to pay these guys extra money to be connected? But clearly, I think the world is evolving and changing. Devesh, any other practices within the organization that you've come across in terms of benefits that can be accrued?
I think one of the areas where organization can definitely get benefited, not only organization but employee at large, that it enables the facility of employee to employee level communication for co-learning, for sharing information. I'll give you one example. In one of our enterprise, which is Hotel Park, which has got, in all metropolitan city, we have got our properties. One of the new initiatives which you have taken, it's a closed loop system through mobile, where if a chef develops a new recipe, it is immediately flashed all across all park properties. And if any innovation, any new addition has to be done, it is, again, very, very effectively communicated, and as well as, the immediate feedback starts coming in. So I think it is one such initiative, through which, employee level communication, peer-to-peer communication, superior subordinate communication. I think it enables the organization for employees' growth and development to a phenomenal extent.
So one commonality in the organizations that I've had the experience of working with that are known for digital, they in fact offer whatever they offer, whether it be learning on various mediums. So you can do it, you're not restricted to the computer, you can take it on the tablet, you can do it on the go, and all that is available, so you can exercise choice based on what you believe is convenient to you. So you don't take away that optionality of which medium to choose as far as learning is concerned or hiring is concerned. Let's go to the last section, just being conscious of time. What's the future of digital? Now, there are risks, of course. The biggest risk, or one of the biggest risks, is cultural adaptation or behavioral change. Can we just reflect a little bit on what do we need to do differently? And Mr. Dwarkanath, if I can come to you, what do we need to do differently as a community to be able to convince the CEO, the CIO that we are ready, we are prepared, we can make this investment? What will it take on our part?
I'll put it into two segments, Nishchay, just building on what you said. One is talking about the investment cost, outdated technology, tomorrow again, reinvestment. The other bit is more on the behavioral side, saying, confidentiality, privacy, all those aspects, the concerns. I think fundamentally, if you see either way, it's mostly to do, are you willing to change with the times? That is the most important. It is an evolving, it's very beneficial. Some of them have got the best benefits. So it's where the influencing power and the rationale for why doing is important, which HR leaders have to take it as their personal objective and make it happen. It is not just for the sake of doing it, but I think it's the need of the hour. If not today, tomorrow it's going to happen. I think coming on this privacy aspect, this is where I think, when you're having in a multinational, you have a different set of rules. Some of the organizations still in India, some of the most admired companies in the world do not allow to do anything. We're talking about social media aspects. But I think, it's a question of, again, it's a change in the mindsets, which is important. I think some of them have seen, some of them still have to realize. This is where HR can play a role. I think the third point, the Kavita has talked about the personal touch. It's becoming too clinical, or you lose touch with the people. It's become only virtual sites, but not really happening. I think you can use this as a hybrid version where it's required a personal touch. You can do it. Some of the things what has been said, Unilever's example, it can be done through digital technology without any touch. It's a question of adopting, as you said. If you can adapt to this change, you can drive it, it can happen. Otherwise, you can keep on worrying. There's a confidentiality, there's a privacy issues. They'll always be there. But I think, because there is a one breach, it doesn't mean that the whole world is changing. I think we need to look more positively, half glass full rather than half glass empty.
Sure. Kavita, your last take on what's the behavioral change needed on our part? I mean, we are good at giving advice to others. What's the behavioral change that's needed for us?
Okay, so for years, you talk about the future of digital, but for years, HR has shouldered the responsibility of running the talent function more so in a very segregated fashion. But with digital, of course, we will integrate it with the fabric of everyday business. Now, having said that, you still have cloud, and you have social media and all of this facing you. And as HR, you can definitely have your HR systems which are more flexible, which are more agile, which are more customized, so on and so forth. I only worry about my job. When you ask me what is digital going to do in the future, I worry about my job, because if HR is going to be done by people, if HR is going to be done by managers, why would you even need an HR person at the helm? Now, anyway, I don't want to be so dramatic. But yes, HR will need to be a little more strategic. We'll have to sit down and understand business. Having said that, we also spoke about understanding technology and have an extremely consultative mindset. The selling example that I spoke to you a little while back. Now, with all of this, the future of digital, if I may speak as far as HR is concerned, the jobs at the entry level will be in outsourcing firms, as I see it. The specialization will be much more. Generalists will not be truly required. But there will be some scope for specialists as we go along. So that's the future as to how I see it.
Vivek, concluding remarks from you. One behavioral change.
Well, I think...
what are you going to do differently?
I think we need to spend a lot of time on humanizing the processes as we go digital. If you really look at it, we started talking about employee engagement only in last maybe 10, 15 years. Before that, we never had to talk about employee engagement because employee engagement was part and parcel of any leadership. for which we had no need to speak it differently. But it's only with the automation that has happened. It's only with the HR shared services kind of organizations that have been created. A need for employee engagement as a separate topic has come in. And my worry is with more and more digitization, we will get disengaged from employees. It is becoming very, very impersonal. I get everything on tap. There is no coaching. There is no personal engagement. Take, for example, I want to apply for leave because my father is not well. I send an application digitally on my mobile. It is a self-approval process. So I get self-approval. My boss maybe will know about it after 5 days or 6 days, whenever he accesses his mails. And in the whole process, there is no engagement. I've seen one company, very interesting, which had outsourced its HR shared services organization. This person applies for leave. Maybe some BPO operator there replied back saying that you have a leave balance, but we will process your leave application after you submit your father's medical certificate. Now, purpose of digitization, purpose of HR shared service is to bring in efficiency, consistency, transparency, as well as effectiveness. And somewhere that effectiveness part we have forgotten. And I think as long as we focus a lot on this effectiveness part, saying that efficiency is important, quality is important, money is important, all that is important, but effectiveness and a deep employee engagement and employee connect, I think somewhere if we forget that part, this whole digitization will bomb.
Great, thanks Vivek. So, the heart of the problem is the problem of the heart. And will digital solve the problem of the heart is something that remains to be seen. We as an HR community need to pay attention. My advice would be get a 101 digital course. That would be the first thing that we can do to try and increase our level of knowledge and understanding in this space. And then go back to your teams and go back to the business and engage in a meaningful conversation that aligns with the business agenda. On that note, I want to thank all my panelists. Thank you.